Yo cats, what's up? It is cold and very sunny from this direction. But today we are doing some cool stuff. We're gonna be pulling the engine. That's what I want to do because I need to do the clutch. I wouldn't be pulling the engine if I wasn't doing the clutch. But I also, since I'm taking it out, I'm gonna prep the bay and paint the bay the same color that the rest of the car is, which is that business gray, as they call it. It's just the majority of what cars are and the race cars are in the interior. Like a lighter gray that it's really just easy to see imperfections if you ever have something crack in your frame or your roll cage or something like that. So that's the plan with that. My dad is either going to be working on the hood vent or he's going to be working on the new rear overs, which you guys still haven't seen yet. And that's all I can think of right now. Something else might come up, but let's start tearing the engine out. So the cage stuff is going pretty well. The engine pulling's going pretty well. I mean, it's only been not too long, maybe a couple hours, but Kyle was able to get in the cross beam here. I really haven't shown much of the cage. I mean, there's been a lot of progress made on it since the last update, but the door bars came out really well. We're like 3/4 of an inch away from the door. It goes into where I cut it out. Super stoked on that. He's got all he's got the front boxes in and the rear boxes, which I'm really glad that we had him do these triangle ones. It's just way less space and potentially even a little bit stronger. All he's got to do left is the intrusion bars and the harness bar, and that's pretty much it. We got, hand gusset up there, the 2 gussets in the top, pretty close to the roof. Really cool. Everything's pretty tight. I mean, honestly, I'm really hyped about it. I'm still gonna do dimple plates, but everything is like finger width apart. Here's a little bit further, but it's gonna be a dimple plate in here anyway. So it's pretty cool. Who showed up? So a little sidetrack from what we're talking about. My pops came, had some goodies that came in the mail. Right here is the roll cage padding. Here is all of the Deutsch connectors and pins for the whole harness. Basically, Troy made a list of everything he needs after going through everything, and we just ordered it all. So that's super cool that came. And then I still have a bunch of parts that I haven't even went over yet. I'll probably get to that next video. But what he is gonna be working on is the hood vent. So it's upside down right now, but this is just your standard D-Max hood vent. I'm pretty hyped about it. It obviously can't sit super far forward like it does on certain cars, just because of the width of it. So it's gonna be a little bit further back. But I don't know, I'm hyped about it. I needed a hood vent because I had an under the hood heat problem. I'm gonna put a vent like probably over the turbo too, but we're cutting a huge hole in the hood, lots of venting, lots of airflow out. So I'm pretty hyped about that, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna take a pause on the engine, and while he's here, I'm gonna throw the seat bracket on the seat, put the seat in, see where that's gonna be. So that's ready for Kyle, so he can mark where to put the harness bar. Gonna put a new bearing in the steering column, which I have not talked about yet either. So the stock steering column has that bar that goes like up here, across, and then down, and bolts like right here, because it also supports like the dash and stuff like that. So basically what we did is we cut that little piece of the bar off, kept the stock mounting, and then took the whole steering column assembly that was here and carved it all up. We left the spot for the blinker because I didn't want to rewire that, but everything else is just cut off. The ignition's gone. Everything will just be flip the switch to turn the ignition on, push to start on all the switches and stuff that's going to be in the dash. So, but that needs a new bearing, so we're going to toss that in. And then once I get the seat in, the biggest thing I want to mock up is where I want to put my handbrake. I didn't mind it on the other side of the shifter over there, but it wasn't in my peripheral vision with the helmet on. I really want it to be on this side of the shifter, especially since I'm dropping the seat down. I think it'll be way easier to have room to mount it there. So that's another thing. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Change of plans, just everything's gonna change throughout the day. It just happens. All right, so this is the little bearing that's in your steering column, and if there's play in it, it's not that hard to replace. It just kind of pries out just to like that. And then the new one should just press in. So then after that, we found like a socket that's like the size of this outer rim and just tapped it in. So that's all it is. So now that this is completed, which I'm super hyped about, I can toss the seat in, lower the seat all the way down to pretty much as low as it goes to get my head clearance, and we'll be able to see the exact location you need for the harness bar in the back. The biggest thing, I'll do a walkthrough of like certain things we did to the cage and why, but just for now's purpose, basically the harness bar can't be above your shoulders, but it can be even with your shoulders and 15 degrees below. So you really don't have a lot of room to play with as far as where the harness bar is. That's why it's very crucial at the harness bar for competition, if you want to go through tech, that it's in that level to 15 degrees range where your shoulders are. So you want to make sure your seat's in its final location, all that stuff. So it's pretty important. All right, so unfortunately, not a huge deal. To fit the side mounts, to line up with this hole and that hole, it does hit the seat a little bit right there in the bottom. So I'm gonna have to basically carve out a little bit of that, just basically continue that line down a little bit, probably like a ½ inch or so. So I'm gonna use the plasma and cut that out a little bit. Alright, so I got this notched out. Hard to see with the cage in here. But it's notched out around the corner of the seat, and then I put it in. Obviously, I can tell some of this, I could make this bracket way more optimal than what I made it this first time, but everything bolted up. The seat's got a little bit more incline, and it's a little closer where the harness is going to be, but with my helmet on, I cleared the top of the cage. So now what I need to do is move it forward a little bit, and since my holes were a little bit off on the bracket, I'm just going to re-drill the holes that mount down here. So I'm going to go like, you know, 1.5 inches, 3/4, a little bit back and in a little bit so I don't run into the tunnel over here. Move the seat forward and try it again. All right, so slight change of plans after messing with the seat a little bit, messing with the seat bracket, trying to adjust things, trying to get the seat low enough, all this stuff. It ended up being where the seat, the Corbeau seat, it has these little nubs in the bottom for bottom mounting. And I was losing like 1 inch of height just because of those little nubs in the bottom of the seat. So for a Pro 2 spec, you need an FIA rated Halo seat. And I wasn't gonna buy one till I needed it, but I'm gonna expedite the process and get a new seat so I can get the seat lower and in the right position. The reason why that's so important is, like I explained before, is that the harness bar is really crucial that you really have a small range that's legal to fit in. So I want to get the right seat so the harness bar is in the right location. So in the future, if I would have stuck with the Corbeau seat that I had and I put a different seat in and made it lower, if the harness bar was above my shoulders, it would have been illegal. So it's not worth, you know, getting the whole cage welded up and everything and then having something to be cut and moved. So that's the plan, but I'm gonna end the vlog there, guys. Got a lot more stuff getting into. We'll get the new seat, we'll get some different seat mount brackets for the time being while I'm still working on the ones that I'm designing. And yeah, making moves, doing cool stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and once again, I'm sorry that videos, there was such a lack of them, but we're getting back into it now. So, see you.